Alright, so right now we're gonna break down our first combo that ends in jump inside kick. Alright, so to begin, I'll demonstrate the first half that we're gonna look at. Alright, and then afterwards we'll break it down further into all the bits and pieces and how to connect those bits and pieces. Alright, so we'll start here with our knee up, just an arbitrary pose. We'll move forward, circle, poke, step, over, cut from the bottom. Alright, I'll demonstrate it one more time, a little bit faster. And one more time, faster, going backwards. Excuse me for jumping out of the frame. Okay, I picked up too much speed. Alright, so for this, the straight sword movements, the actual sword movements, aren't very many. Alright, what will be concerning us is how we move our feet and how we move our sword and kind of keep this flow going. Alright, this is a moving combo. You know, everything is meant to lead into another movement, very flowing, until we end in our jump. Alright? So, the first part we're going to look at, we'll start here. Alright? Our steps will be step down left, step over, turning our body outside, then stepping back, and then turning over, putting our weight over our left leg. Okay? So one more time. We'll start from here up here. Step down, turn, back, turning over the left leg. Alright? Now while I'm doing this, right, you won't see me rocking my body forward and backwards. For the most part, it's straight. Right? Once you start adding a little bit of speed, okay, and you're looking for more advanced definition, okay, you'll see me bend my back a little bit, okay, you'll see us practitioners do that, but in the beginning, right, we're going to keep our back mostly straight, right? If you are looking for that higher level performance or like execution of the technique, right, I'll go over it once we start putting our whole body into this movement. But for now, for this basic step, left, turn over, step back, turn over the left leg. All right, we're going to try and keep our back straight. All right, now for the sword. Okay, so I recommend adding these sword movements after you've kind of gotten comfortable with the footwork, because the steps and the sword cannot be dissociated. Right? So in this movement, we'll be practicing each hand movement with the step. Right? We cannot do these sword movements without the steps. We can do the steps without the sword, but not the other way around. So first, we'll start here. Then we'll actually lead with our left hand going down, then opening with our left hand, left leg together. Then, as we step over, our sword will come down. Then as it comes up, we let it come up into a circle. Right? And that gives us some power to get up here. Then it keeps moving over as we're turning our body by stepping back. And our sword is in this nice hook. And after we step back, we turn, our sword just keeps turning into poke. Alright? So we'll do it one more time. Okay, going through those steps, and then we'll slow it down a little bit more and look at some further things to look out for. So here, letting our left hand fall so that it can open with our left leg, stepping over. Okay, then you see my sword is still behind me as I step over. As I turn my body, finishing this turn, my sword will come up in this very natural uppercut circle. And then as I keep turning, my left leg will step back, and my sword will just fall, like it's around, going down around, kind of finishing up into that poke. Alright? So, these first 3 steps, left, right, step back, right? Adding them with the sword and making it flow will take some time, right? But ideally, they'll start to feel it as one combination instead of 3 or 4 distinct movements, right? So we go open, turn, step, turn, poke, right? So while we're moving, right, you should feel, because if we're keeping our back straight, you should feel your body dragging a little bit behind your legs, and that's fine. Your legs are your feet are just taking these small steps, while your body, your upper body, your waist, and your arms are following these much bigger motions, these longer paths. So they'll drag behind a little bit, okay? And when you feel it dragging behind, it's okay. Like you see, I step back here, and my body is still here, but it wants to be moving here. That's fine, okay? Because I just leverage that delay, and I use it it ends up coiling my body, and that uncoiling ends up giving me power to complete this whole movement, right? So these steps and these sword motions, right? They won't just be discrete, happening one by one, right? The legs will step, coil the body, then you uncoil your body, and then let your legs step again to coil the body again, and then it'll uncoil, and then it'll give you power to complete the motion, right? And that's how Kung Fu works, right? We have these very efficient and natural paths that pull your whole body together, okay? It's a very wonderful whole body experience, right? So, in the beginning, you might not feel it because you're still trying to get the proper techniques together. But as you practice and you become very deliberate with every step, and you're seeking to be continuous and give flow to the combo, then you'll start to feel that, oh, I stepped out and my body very, very naturally wants to connect into the next movement, right? And once you get there, it feels great, right? It's very amazing, just like how this very simple movement can have so much depth, right? So, after you have these simple motions, right, the only thing I would begin to look for is, besides making it smoother and smoother and smoother, you can begin to look for a little bit of speed, okay, going down, right? So, it's hard to tell unless you have a very, very good eye for it, but the only place I really used power in my sword was right there, and then right there, okay? So this is a very important aspect of Kung Fu also. I mentioned it over and over and over. It's very natural and it's very efficient, right? The first bout of power here, my left hand, it's not holding the sword, it doesn't matter, but it's just falling. My right hand is also just falling, but as it's falling, the one place I use power is at the bottom of its fall as it goes up, okay? I have all of this energy, okay, stored from having my sword up here. It falls, then right here at the very, very bottom where my arm hangs without touching the ground, I can convert that power into the spin, and that'll carry my sword up, and then the power used to carry up will come down again to be let out in that poke, okay? So I'm storing all this energy just from lifting my arm. As it falls, I don't add any energy. I just let my arm fall, and then that falling gives me power at the bottom to come back up, and I fall back down, okay? And this falling gives power to a poke, right? So that's a fun piece of information about this technique, or this little combo, is just how you use the falling first to give you power to come up, and second, okay, the same path falling down to give you power for a poke, right? So don't worry too much about that stuff. It's like once you get to the intermediate and advanced levels, okay, and you're looking for how to best utilize your energy in your form, you'll start looking for these places, right? Here, just gravity helps me out. And here, I need a little bit more power, so I'll turn it into a turn, and then everything else is just carrying over. Alright? So, that's the first half of this combo, the first steps. Next, alright, we're going to look at this, starting from the poke. Okay, we're going to pull in. Our sword is going to come down, step over, step out, and then cut from the bottom. Okay, I'll show you one more time. Okay, uninterrupted, going forward, and then backwards. Okay. And coming back. Alright, so we'll start the same way we did last time. First I'll go over the steps with you, alright, just focusing the footwork. Then afterwards, we'll do the footwork with the hands, okay, breaking it up very discreetly, alright, and then we'll start smoothing it out, okay, focusing on some of the connections that will allow you to perform this movement, not necessarily quickly or with a lot of power, but smoothly and properly, alright? So starting from here, okay, note that my weight is over my left in the front, not back here, alright? This is something different, okay? It's not what we need right now because our last combo ended with us moving forward over the left leg. So just the feet. Our right leg is going to come forward. Then we're going to step over, turning back left, step back right. Then as we move, turn over to our right leg, we're going to just come out into that hop that I showed earlier. Alright? Now if we exclude that hop, these steps are the exact same as the previous combo, they're just opposite. Alright? Looking at it again. Okay, left foot in front, right leg back. We step with our, open with our right, turn with our left, step back with our right, then we can turn, putting the weight over the right leg to come up in a little hop. If instead I had just came up to this standing with the back foot pointed, then that combo would have been just the same as the previous set of steps, just backwards again. Alright? So, once you get comfortable with these steps, then we can start bringing our sword in together. Okay? We'll bring our sword into the mix. So, open up here. Okay. First step, right step forward, pulling our sword back and in. Alright? I'll face this way. So you can see, just my sword comes up and comes down. Okay, nothing special about it. My left hand just comes down and I rest it here on the thumb of my sword hand. Alright, do not grab the blade. Okay, putting your fingers here. Alright, that's how you cut yourself. Alright, so I come here. And that was the conclusion of that step. Now, I'm going to lead with the sword, cutting up. And then I'm just going to follow with my left leg, turn out. Now, my sword is falling. I let that fall turn into a circle as I step back. And then my sword is falling again, and it comes up to that poke. Right? When it came down on this side, okay, my hands were very much the same, where my left hand, my sword fingers, were just rested over my right hand, right? But my arms fell a little bit lower because it was coming for this cut. Right? Don't worry too much about that until you get kind of the bigger overall picture of these steps. Right? So, continue. Right step forward, pulling our right hand back. We let it fall, and pull this over. So we're facing this way. Now I stopped but realistically, my sword is falling. I let it fall into a circle, then I follow it and step back to turn over, and then I move forward into my cut. Okay? So, for this combo, right, it moves in much the same way as the previous combo. Okay? It's just, instead of our right hand following our steps, okay, our sword is actually leading us. You can think of it as leading us in these set of steps. And the reason for that is because even though our steps changed direction, our sword didn't. Our sword stayed in the same hand, right? And so that's the only piece of asymmetry, is just now the sword is in the front of this combo rather than in the back, right? So as we keep going over it, right, and you practice it more and more and more, you'll be able to find the little distinction between the first half and the second half of the combo, right? So starting from your poke, you want to be pulling up, falling down, circling back, down, cut, right? So paying attention again, just like in the last combo, to the rising and falling of our sword, okay? From here, you raise it by yourselves, okay? Okay, not this big motion, okay? Just pull your arm back very, very easily, just like your elbow drop, and then your hand will come back all by itself. Then, not using any power in the shoulders, just using this to control the fall of your sword, your elbow. It comes up, then as it's coming down, you just let your sword fall, and wherever it falls, coming down, that's where you let the circle happen. That's where you can push the circle and control it coming down. And then from here, you just let your arm swing out, and you'll swing out into that cut. Alright? So again, Kung Fu has these very natural, very efficient motions, right? And like that idea was spread out all through this combo, okay? In that first little bit I showed you, okay, from up here, leading into this second little bit, right? That idea is present and becomes more and more and more obvious, okay? The more you try and learn these hand movements with the steps, trying to keep going. Alright, so now that we've learned this first part of those steps and the second part, okay, 2 sets of footwork, we're going to focus on that very, very middle, alright? Because we aren't going to stop here, do a pause, and come forward, alright? What you're going to see is we're going to keep moving, alright? Borrowing, or not necessarily borrowing, but continuing the flow of power to move forward and complete this combination, right? So, if you remember, you fell here, and then we kind of treated it as a stop, right? But what you're going to think of it is as, you're going to start from this left step back, okay? Turn out and take a step. Okay, so just watching the legs. Okay, step back, turn, take a step. Right, one motion. Turn out, take a step. Right, and then if you have your sword, turn out, pull, take a step, pulling back. Right, so just this one, turn 2, 3, and 4. Right? Take some time after you've perfected or gotten a good grasp of these first halves, and you come back to this middle connection. Right? And then once you have this middle connection down, just being able to pass through this left leg into a step, pass through this pull into a step pull, Then you can try adding more to the beginning and adding more to the end, so that you're effectively passing through this motion, never really stopping. Okay, you can think of it as highlighting or exercising your power there at that poke, but we're not really stopping per se. All right. So after you've gotten that footwork down, spend some time in that connection. All right. We just have a few more movements to finish off the combo. So we're going to start here from cutting from the bottom. All right. So I'll just actually take some time to highlight the line of my sword. All right. If you watched the first couple videos, all right, you might remember where I said in Kung Fu or a lot of movement practices, we don't like these corners in our shoulders. We like to pull them out, either have it straight, left and right, okay, or curved, so that it's either curvature in my back, an arc, okay, or this curvature in the front. All right, very different than these jagged corners. All right, so when you come up to this cut, okay, it's weird because your arm's twisted, but just be aiming for this straight left and right motion. Okay, so and that's also how you use your power the best, when it follows the straightest up-down path possible. Okay. Anyway, moving from this cut, okay, we're just going to take flower, cut, step into and jump inside kick. Okay, so here, flower, pretty basic, but after I flower, right hand, okay, just let your sword fall into this cut, and then just let it come forward, okay? Don't try and control it, just stay very, very relaxed in the shoulder, and your sword will complete this circle all by itself, okay? So take some time to practice that, okay? Down, fall, move up the flower, cut down, flower, cut down, becoming very smooth, all right? After this is smooth, okay, you're actually gonna start to give it shape, where after you cut, as your sword is coming down, you lead with the tip, okay? So keep my sword in the frame, okay? It will come kind of like that, pointing up, falling down, because here is where we're going to connect to our jump inside kick with our sword pointing down, okay? And then complete our jump inside kick, all right? So before we get into the jump inside kick and how we're going to land it, right? We'll add the footwork back into this. So here, left, right, left, right. Okay, 4 steps. Here, use flower to take 2 steps. Okay. Inside, outside circle. Then before your left circle, or your next left step, cut, left, step over right, and you're ready for yep, kick, down. Alright? So, for a jump inside kick, alright, when I did the full combo earlier, I took it into full splits. If full splits is not comfortable, okay, you can take it to like a high splits, or you can go, or a good place to do it is this knee down, okay, keeping the arm the same, right hand poked out, left hand leaning back, okay, and again, noticing how I have no corners in my shoulders, okay, straight line, okay, if you don't want to go down this far, you know, then after you jump inside kick, just go ahead and take it at a high bow stance. Right? Now, if you don't want to do a kick or a jump, excuse me, right? Then feel free to do the same motion, but instead of stepping out here, but instead of jumping here, okay, you're just going to step back, open your left hand out, hit a standing inside kick, and then proceeding to hit any of the different stances, right? You can either hit your full splits, knee down, this high bow stance, okay, whatever's comfortable for you. So again, that alternative to the jump, cut, fall right back, cut, 1, 2. Instead of doing the up, we do step back, open, into inside kick, and then come down. Alright, so that's the third part of this entire combo. Alright, now just like we did the first, second, in the middle, and focus on the connection, okay, we're going to do the second, third part, focus on that connection again in the middle. Right? This one's, for some people it's more intuitive, but remember we took it at a hop, then we just keep walking forward. Okay? Make sure to, or in order to correctly do this, just make sure you take it at a hop. And even if it's just a very, very small one, okay, it's not a high hop. Okay? If you try to stand, it's very easy to lose your momentum, lose your flow. But instead, if you hop, then you should find walking to be very natural right afterwards. Right? So there's a lot of things in this movement combo, alright? But if you focus your footwork first, keeping your back straight throughout, alright, then adding the sword with each step, and then 3, focusing on the flow of one movement into the other, okay? And then chunking it out as we did today into the 3 parts, and then finally adding the connection between each of those 3 parts. Then once you begin practicing the entirety of it, alright, you should find yourself to have this very smooth, nice movement combo. Thank you.